Hello and welcome to Journalism 190, Introduction to Mass Media. I'm Dr. Brad Howard and I'll be your professor for the next 9 weeks. What follows in this screencast is simply a brief introduction to the course. The idea underlying the course is that good journalism is the lifeblood of a democratic society. As James Madison once said, a popular government without popular information or the means of acquiring it is but a prologue to a farce or a tragedy, or perhaps both. Knowledge will forever govern ignorance, and a people who mean to be their own governors must arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives. Unfortunately, studies of contemporary journalism find that rather than promoting democratic values, the news media today tends to undermine them. And rather than promoting active citizenship, the news media produces apathy and quiescence. And rather than empowering citizens, the news media makes them feel powerless in the face of the many social problems of the day. The central questions of the course, then, are: how did journalism come to be an obstacle to democracy, and what can be done to make journalism function as a tool to enhance our democratic institutions? The objectives of the course are that by the end, students should be able to define key terms including hegemony, neoliberalism, dogmatism, framing, agenda setting, discourse, cultural construction, and political economy, just to name a few. Should be able to identify critical junctures in the development of media policies and explain the relationship between the production of the news text and the content of that news text. You should be able to detect bias in the news, infer the causes of the bias, and predict the consequences that bias will have on our democratic society. You should also be able to identify examples of hegemonic messages in the media and produce counter-hegemonic readings of news text. You should be able to identify and describe news frames, construct alternative versions of news stories, and identify and classify textual silences. How are we going to do this? Well, this course, remember, is fully online. We will not be meeting in the classroom, and so to deliver the material for the course, I will rely on readings. You'll be reading McChesney's The Problem of the Media. I will, of course, have other recommendations of books that won't be required reading, but they'll make great summer reading. We'll read a few scholarly articles. I will encourage you to look for examples in newspapers and magazines and on news websites. We'll use a few videos to enhance your understanding of these concepts. We'll watch, for example, The Corporation. You can find The Corporation at Film is Truth. You can find it in the Western Library. Or if you subscribe to Hulu Plus or Netflix, you can find it on either of those. And if you prefer, you can purchase it on iTunes and watch it on the comfort of your desktop or laptop computer that way. We're also going to watch Outfoxed, a documentary on the Fox News Network.
Coming to Frontline.
We're going to look at a series
30
on
years ago,
Frontline
they were thought
called
of as heroes.
News
It
War.
would have been.
And then I'll use some screencast. I'll incorporate chat into future screencast in many cases so that you can ask questions or make comments. We can, if need be, work in some wikis if you feel like doing some collaborative exploration of the ideas. And Blackboard also offers the option of using the discussion boards, which can be a really good place to continue a discussion after a Prezi. Your assignments this quarter will include quizzes on each of the readings and the videos, a midterm and a final exam, a hegemony visualization project, and a concept mapping exercise. And you can see here the distribution of the grades so that you know exactly how much of an impact each of these will have on your final grade. I will, of course, have more explanation of both the hegemony visualization and the concept mapping exercise. The quizzes and the exams will all be on Blackboard. If you haven't used Blackboard before, it's important that you pay attention to the email that I sent at the beginning of the summer and make sure that you have a browser that is compatible with Blackboard. It'll make life a lot easier. Blackboard can be frustrating. There'll be times when the technical issues associated with Blackboard will cause you some grief, but it will cause you a lot less grief if you make sure that you're using a compatible browser. So having the latest browser, having the most recent version of Firefox, for example, might not be the best thing. In fact, if you look on the campus website for compatibility, you should be using Firefox 3.6, so considerably behind there. But doing that is downgrading your browser, will make your life a lot easier in the long run. Communicating with me in an online environment is fairly straightforward. We can use a variety of methods. If you have a question as a group or a question that will benefit the whole group, post a question on the discussion board and we'll discuss it as a class, and that benefits the entire class. That's a fairly efficient way to get information out to everybody. Chat, if you're confused about something, keep in mind chat produces better results than email. You might not understand my point, and I might not understand that you're not getting my point if we're just writing back and forth, whereas in chat you've got real-time options for clarification. You can set up a Google account if you don't already have one, and we can chat in the Gmail window or in Google Documents. If you have an assignment open in Google Docs, we can actually chat over your assignment. So if you want to use that, you can simply invite my mediareform@gmail.com address to chat, and we'll be able to see each other online. Email is good if you have a private question. If you have a question about your grade, for example, that's not something that's appropriate to discuss in front of, if you will, the whole class. So in that case, feel free to send me an email at mediareformnow@gmail.com, and please make sure to begin the subject line with JOUR190 as you see it here on the screen. All caps, no space, JOUR190. After that, feel free to include a slug line that gives me some idea what your question's about. But incorporating Journalism 190 into your subject line this way allows me to do a daily search to see what emails I've gotten from members of the class, rather than simply looking at all of the junk mail that I may have received in the course of a day. So that's the general nature of the course, and you will be receiving an invitation from me soon to participate in an upcoming screencast. And one of the screencasts that I plan to create for those of you who've never used a screencast is how to use a screencast. In the meantime, I'll create a YouTube version of this one as well for those of you who aren't accustomed to using Blackboard's Illuminate Live. I look forward to chatting with all of you online, and watch your email. Bye for now.